Just a bow shot from a college campus sits a house where 4 students reside. That racket you hear is the first housemate.
This is Joel. He thinks he's the poster child for the wannabe musician. He uses the term aspiring, but it's doubtful he knows what that means. He has a plethora of instruments, but they are mostly used to lure women into his room. He always says he's got a record deal coming out or something of the sort, but despite the lured women, he's the only thing that will be coming out anytime soon. Every weekend he goes to the hippie parts of town and plays for tips. Those $5 you see there are his, and that's probably all he'll get unless someone pays him to leave. To get ready for those public outings, he practices relentlessly and whenever he's inspired, as he likes to say. This usually happens somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning so that no one else can sleep. When he returns from the public performances, he gets depressed and accuses people of stifling his creativity. Then he cries all throughout the house while yelling things like, "I'm purging my negative energy." Then he goes into his room and writes love songs all night about women he's never met. Once a month he'll wake up in the morning and realize his career is a complete failure. He'll then sneak upstairs and steal money from the resident drug dealer. It's funny in theory, but pathetic to watch. Sid keeps his money in a combination safe, but doesn't trust himself enough to remember the combination. So the lock is always open, and that's how Joel pays the rent.
This is Sid, or at least what's left of him. With Sid, what you see is what you get. Sid knows what Sid does. Hell, everyone who's ever met him knows what he does. One has to appreciate Sid. It's not every day that you meet someone with the ability to single-handedly create his own indoor climate. Sid can usually be found on the couch, often circled by 5 to 10 THC-filled cronies. Together they spend most of the day enjoying the finer points of life, while watching anime, although none of them understand Japanese. When your family is responsible for almost half of the alumni donations, you don't exactly have to worry about your GPA. Sid's last name alone is the sole reason that 3 possession with intent charges against him were dropped just last year. It's not that Sid feels the need to live in a skewed reality, it's just that Sid and sobriety go together like Chuck Norris and good acting. This makes Sid's high points of the day comparable to mild comas for others. Sid is usually found outside on the rarest of occasions. Once a week he runs down to the Rastafarian store in the shadiest part of town to stock up on essentials. He usually keeps about half of what he buys, and then, being the philanthropist that he is, reinvests what's left back into the community. He's quite the entrepreneur. As long as there's a market, Sid's selling, and selling hard.
That guy, buying the uppers, well, let me tell you about him. Picture the most common elements of any good party. The booze, the stimulants, the sexual tension, the bad remixes of pop 80s music. Personify all these aspects, and this is what you end up with. Derek. The kid's entire existence would play along perfectly to a Duran Duran album. The most important thing going on in Derek's life is himself, or to be more specific, his looks. Every morning he does this whole routine to get himself looking just right. Facial cleansers, skin exfoliates, alcohol-free lotions infused with apricot. He's a walking Estee Lauder ad. And if even a single strand of hair should fall out of place, he has no qualms about stopping whatever he's doing in order to fix it. Every night he's headed to some new club or hotspot in a desperate attempt to coax some drunken college girl back to his lava lamp-filled pad using his impeccable hair and pseudo-hip phrases such as "rock on" and "that's hot." Plus the kid's just got a natural charm about him. Once back at his lair, Derek's trap has long been sprung and there's no resisting him. During Derek's relentless efforts to pleasure his women, the perfect opportunity is presented for Peter to sneak into the room and satisfy his needs for women's underwear. Never knowing about their secret midnight visitor, the girls usually blame Derek, accusing him of theft and perversion, among other things. Derek usually just shrugs it off and walks away laughing. This is Peter, and having acquired the coveted panties, he uses them to make parachutes for his homemade model rockets. Peter is so bizarre, it's scary to speak of. In fact, he's probably listening right now. He likes to lurk about the house, unseen, and at times just appears out of nowhere. He's been found at the foot of his housemates' beds, filming them as they sleep. His mysterious presence is usually given away by his overwhelming stench of peaches. Peter loves canned peaches. He eats over a pound for lunch every day, made even stranger by the fact that he usually throws them up not too long after. Not on purpose, mind you, just because he ate too many peaches. Peter won't eat anything that's not from a can, and every weekend he goes to the kitchen and discards any foods he sees unfit for consumption, whether they're his or not. However, most days Peter simply straps on his oversized helmet and rides his silver moped to the nearby park. From there, well, no one knows exactly what he does, but whatever it is, he doesn't come back until very late.
These colorful characters might seem entertaining, but I'm here to tell you otherwise. And who am I, you may ask? I was the 5th housemate. I'm getting out of here.